ridiculous.
So,
So what?
so
You're a boomer.
Oh my god.
you are.
Your girlfriend's a boomer.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just kidding. I don't have one, dumbass.
Oh my god.
I said I could have.
Oh, he could have had a girlfriend.
Why?
Why would you have a girlfriend?
I messed it up for myself though.
No. No.
It was a Negro too.
An e-girl too. Man, kids really do say the darndest things, don't they? Hey guys, Violet4K, aka Tim, bringing another video. Today I want to talk about my favorite Call of Duty maps. Now, I'll be excluding DLC maps, even though I do think some of the games had really good DLC maps, because I think as of late the trend has been just rehashing old maps. You'll see it with NW, you saw it with Black Ops 4. They're just kind of giving us fan favorite maps. Well, I don't know where they're getting fan favorite from, because some of the maps they're bringing back for Modern Warfare is just ridiculous. But that's another topic for another video. But I want to kind of give you guys my favorite maps that came with the game, that shipped with the game from day one. So the first game I'm going to start with is MW3. So I basically loved every map on MW3, except maybe Downturn was the only one. But then again, Downturn is still better than some of the maps we've had in the newer Call of Duty, so it's still an exception there. But every map on MW3 was so good. The flow on the maps were really good. Everything about the game, in my opinion, was just great, except for maybe death streaks. But I mean, the game was so innovative with the specialist bonus and all that, and the game just felt so nice with everything, with the game playing the way it did. The maps just added to it. It was just such a good experience. I think every map on there were great, except I will say some of my favorites for that game were Lockdown, Resistance, Hard Hat, and Village. Those were my favorites. Resistance was actually the first map I ever got a Moab on, so that was, you know, holds a close place to my heart, and I love it very much. So that's my favorite, probably the best game out there, to be honest, but we've already talked about that before in previous videos. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is Black Ops 1. Now, these games aren't in order, obviously. I'm just kind of going through a list that I made for myself, and some of the maps I loved on that game, actually quite a bit. I loved almost all of them, but the Firing Range, Havana, Summit, those were my favorite maps on that game. I think original Summit has been the best of any Call of Duty that they've remade it in, just in the Black Ops 1. I mean, that's original, so to me, that's just going to be the best one. Same with Firing Range. I think they all just played so great. And, you know, the Havana, I wish they would have brought that back in other games, but I understand why they didn't. It wasn't as popular maybe as, say, Havana or Summit, so I'm sorry, Firing Range. But anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is MW2. Now, I don't remember MW2 terribly much because I haven't played it in a long time, but there are some of the favorites I had in there were High Rise, Favela, Scrapyard. I think maps that they made, Modern Warfare 3 and back, were just the best maps they've ever made. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the COD 4 maps that came back to Modern Warfare. That's a different topic. I'm not talking about rehash maps here. Original maps are usually what played the best. So I think MW2 and Black Ops 1 and MW3 probably had the best maps of any of the Call of Duties as of late. So that's just my opinion. Hopefully you guys agree. If not, leave it down in the comments below why you disagree. But anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is Black Ops 2. Now, I made it clear last video that I wasn't the biggest fan of Black Ops 2. I mean, it was enjoyable at times, but I didn't really play it much. But I can tell you some of my favorite maps on that were Slums, Raid, and Standoff. Those maps felt the best. They were the coolest looking. They just had really good flow to them, especially Raid. I think Raid is probably my favorite map in the whole game. It was just fun. It was always fun to play. So that's my list for Black Ops 2. Moving on to the next game is Ghosts. Now, I know Ghosts is hated for the size of their maps, because they did have some extremely big maps, like Stonehaven, which was a castle map. That map was huge. And I'll tell you what though, I always had fun playing it, to be honest. I mean, it's not in my favorites, but it definitely was fun to me. I had a lot of assault chems on that. You can get a lot of kills if you played it smart. So it was just fun. So anyway, some of my favorite maps are Octane, Prison Break, which is another map I got a ton of kills on all the time. It was just super fun to play on that map. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it. And then also Warhawk. Warhawk was a good map. It was fun. I think it's definitely one of the better maps and smaller maps. I think those are probably what led me towards these being my favorites, because they were a little smaller than most of the other ones. Now, Ghosts also did have some really bad maps. I don't remember the names of them, but there were some that were literally the size for like what Ground War would be in Modern Warfare today. They could honestly filter that many people in that game and be fine. So those are some of my favorite maps for Ghosts. Now, moving on to the current game, Modern Warfare. I'm going to say probably Modern Warfare has the most maps I tried to avoid of any Call of Duty. I always try to avoid Crash now because I don't like the way it plays. I try to avoid also Piccadilly, like it's a plague. And then Shipment. I don't play Shipment. I think it's ridiculous how you can get killed so easily in that because you just spawn in, you have to start shooting because someone's probably already shooting you. So Modern Warfare probably has the least amount of maps that I like. Hopefully with the new content they're bringing out, it'll improve. We'll see. I don't know yet. Only time will tell. So next to the next game is Black Ops 3. I actually think Black Ops 3 had a lot of good maps. It probably had some better maps of the newer Call of Duties, but some of my favorites were Combine, Fringe, and Redwood. I know Redwood may be weird for some people, but I think the map played pretty nice. I think it was fun to play. Combine was small, so it allowed you to fight a lot of people up close, and just, you know, there were some fun maps. Now, with the advanced movement, that I think this game did the best with how unchaotic it would be, if that makes sense. So Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare, I didn't play Infinite Warfare, but I'm assuming it's similar. Advanced Warfare especially was just too chaotic, too much verticality, and it was just really frustrating because you get shot from places that people in like 4-story buildings. It makes no sense. Now I know people are doing that in Modern Warfare now. I think they added too much verticality to these maps as well, so it's a little annoying, but Black Ops 3 I think did a really good job with the advanced movement, making sure that it stayed you know, pretty less chaotic and more controlled, if I can say so. Now that moves me to Black Ops 4. I didn't love the Black Ops 4 maps, honestly. I think well, the problem is a lot of these games are shipping with less maps at the start, and they're just giving us rehash maps later on, or they came with rehash maps. I remember Black Ops 4 came with like Firing Range and Summit like already in the game. So I mean, those were fun, but I mean, they're not really new maps. But I did like Contraband, and I did like Gridlock on Black Ops 4. They seem to be flow the best for me. You know, the game was just not that fun in terms of because the special abilities were really hinging the movement and the flow of the maps, because people would just put up barricades or those barbed wire and it'll just ruin the flow. So I think if maybe the specialists weren't there, I'd have more favorite maps because the maps may have flowed better. But it is what it is at this point. And so let's move on to the last game, which is Advanced Warfare. Now, again, I despise Advanced Warfare because of the verticality of the maps, but there was one good map that I could think of, and that was Recovery. Recovery was fun. I believe that was the one where it was starting on one side of the map, and then a volcano would start, and you'd have to go to the other side. That was always a fun map. I believe that's what that map was. But, you know, there's a lot of things about that game that I hated. The advanced movement, skill-based matchmaking, all that, it just was annoying. So that's my list of current games, well, starting with Black Ops, or Modern Warfare 2. And going through. So those are some of my favorite maps. If you guys want me to make a video about maps I absolutely hated, I can do that as well. I have some other video ideas that are non-COD related that will have COD gameplay in the background, so make sure you check out those. And the gameplay in the background is just a 49-5 game on Vacant. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was a carry again, so hopefully you guys enjoy the gameplay. If you guys want to leave your rating below, or comments below about which videos you like the most or which maps you love the most, make sure you do so. And if you guys wouldn't mind subscribing or leaving a rating for this video, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. And again, guys, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching the video, and have a good day. Bye.